Hey there, and welcome to the Event Crushed podcast. Each week, we'll be chatting about all things wedding industry, entrepreneurship, and how to crush it in life and business. I'm so glad you're here. Now, let's dive into this week's episode. Hello, and happy Friday. I have a real treat for you today. I am sharing an interview with Olivia of Numa Films, and Olivia is co-owner of Numa Films, and they are a wedding videography company based here in Oregon. That's where Olivia is currently, and in Louisiana, where Liz, the other half of Numa Films, is located. So they are just an incredible team. Their videography is authentic, and they have a really big passion for storytelling. And it comes across in everything that Olivia talks about in today's interview. And I know you're going to love it. She's also hilarious. So you will hear lots of laughing throughout the episode. If you're listening and not watching on YouTube, then you will not see all of the things that she's doing to make me laugh. But if you watch on YouTube, then you will see that. So anyways, I know that you're going to love Olivia, and I know you're going to enjoy this interview. I think it's such an important topic, and I hope that you love it, and I hope that you go check out Olivia and Numa Films and enjoy the rest of your week. I also wanted to give one small update to the podcast. I am going to switch days that new episodes are released. So it's been Fridays ever since I started, and I am going to be changing the day that the new episodes come out, potentially to Tuesdays. So just know this will take effect either next week or the following week. And so if you don't see it come out on Friday, just know it's coming shortly after, early the next week. So just want to give you an update that might be changing. And in the meantime, come on over to Instagram and check out our new page, eventcrush.ed, where I'm sharing the podcast episodes and all kinds of fun stuff over there. So hope to see you on Instagram, and have a fantastic weekend. Well, hey, Olivia, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
Absolutely. Me too. I know. I feel like it's been a long time that we've been talking about having you on. So I'm just super pumped that we finally made it happen.
Same. We made it happen. We have made it.
Yes. So I would love it if you could just share for our listeners a little bit about you and your videography company and what you do in the wedding industry, how you got to where you are today. I'd just love to hear a bit about your journey.
Okay. It's not very sparkly, but before I was a videographer, I was doing freelance art full time. So I guess about 5 years ago, I started with wedding videography, and it's been a wild ride. I'm from the South, so storytelling is like in my blood. It is a career that I love very, very much. And then I guess April, me and my friend Liz decided to start Numa Films. And so it's an entirely female-owned, female-operated video company, and focuses on human connection and storytelling. So even our editors and content creators are women. And it's been an amazing response since we started. We're just like completely overwhelmed with the response of like everyone being so supportive, and we just can't believe what we've been able to accomplish in such a short time with everyone's help. So happy to be here.
Yay. Yeah, that's amazing. You guys have I feel like you just exploded onto the scene and have just been completely crushing it in like a short amount of time. So yeah, and I'm so excited that we just booked a wedding together. So I'm very excited to have another one with you this summer, because it's been a minute. I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time.
Yes, breaking out in hives here. We need to get this rolling.
Yeah. And you and I connected originally when you moved up here to Oregon. I don't know exactly when it was, but I just remember meeting up with you at a coffee shop and like chatting and being like, oh my gosh, this girl has the best hair.
It's compressed. It's in the editing headphones. I'll fluff it at the end of the podcast once I take these off. I remember we got one of those real food Pop Tarts at the coffee shop. It was like,
Oh,
I was like, wow, they make real Pop
yes.
Tarts in the Pacific Northwest. I'm going to love it here.
Yes. And that's when you knew that this was the place for you.
3 years in, we're rocking and rolling. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So, okay. When I was kind of asking you, about what you would like to share on, you kind of used the phrase being respectful of the wedding day. And so first, I just want to start with you kind of explaining like what does that mean to you, before we kind of jump into some questions surrounding that topic.
Yeah, I think this is a topic that I have to kind of recenter myself on often, even though it's a subject I'm really passionate about. But I think that being respectful of the day is just at the end of the day, remembering that there's a wedding happening. And so beyond my portfolio or how I am feeling that day, two people are getting married. And so a wedding, I have to remind myself, it's not a photo shoot. It's not a video shoot. It's not an opportunity for me to audition to upgrade into another, level in my career, but it's a celebration of the love of two people, and not just their love, but the people that are surrounding them. So I have to make sure that I'm doing all that I can to make it a good experience, not only for the couple, but the people that they've invited to be with them that day. So I know that I've told you this before. My tagline is like, if, you're walking down the aisle, you're getting married, and I'm getting this like life-changing shot of you. You look beautiful. The lighting is hitting your hair. And I'm just like, wow, I'm going to retire on this shot. This is the most beautiful shot I've ever gotten in my life. But I'm blocking your Nana's view of you walking down the aisle. Then I have not only failed you as a vendor, but like as a human being. So I think just the reminder that, we are there for the sake of the wedding. The wedding is not there for the sake of us.
Yeah, that is really beautifully said. And I think is just a great reminder for all of us, especially, I don't know, in like today's world with the rise of content creation and like feeling the pressure that like we have to capture all the details and then share all the like behind the scenes content. And it's like we're working really hard to just have, like all this content to share. And it's like at the end of the day, like that's not what we're doing here. We have a very important role in somebody's wedding day. And just like you said, I think it's important for us to recognize like just how sacred it is and how we can just all kind of get back to that. And because I think we can just lose sight of that a little bit when it's like, well, we need money and we need this and we need that and we need content. And we kind of can lose sight of what really, what we're really doing here.
Right. Let's go back to square one. Why are we here?
Exactly. Yeah. So, okay. Well, I love how you kind of broke that down for us. So some of the questions that I have for you obviously have to do with this, but I kind of took it off in like some different directions too. So let's see. So can you share with us some things that you do to kind of make sure that you are, I guess one way to put it is like, how do you make sure that you are respecting the wedding day? Like, how do you go about interacting with the couple and their family and their loved ones and, just really make sure that you are centering on everything that you just said?
Yeah, I think my intention is to be super professional and put everyone at ease and make them feel seen as soon as possible. It comes off really awkward and self-deprecating humor most of the time. But I really just want people to know from the beginning, like, I'm here to film, but you're free to talk. Like, I'm not going to use this audio later from this camera. Please speak freely and like have your moments with each other. And even those in the bridal party, like I really love getting them involved in unique ways. We do a lot of fun stuff with bridal party. And I make sure to pinpoint parents and siblings and pay attention to those dynamics as soon as possible. And really, I just want everyone to feel comfortable because having emotional moments, on camera, it can be uncomfortable sometimes if you're aware of the camera. So I just try my best to be a quiet observer.
Yeah, because as the videographer and then photographers, like you guys are there for all of the really intimate moments, like, which as a planner, I'm usually running around setting out place settings and things like that. So I'm not necessarily there for the first look and for getting dressed and all of those things that are like such intimate moments that you share with the couple.
Mhm.
And I really respect like how intentional you are with that relationship. And it makes me so sad because I just hear stories of like, just the opposite of that, of photographers stressing out the couple and just different things. And so this is just a testament to how it should be done. And I think there's a lot we could all be learning from this.
Absolutely. And I think that it is, there's the pressure as a professional to deliver all of those moments. Like you said, content creation, there's so many things. It's like more content available. Like you can get Super 8 now. You could get mobile phone content. You can get photo. You can get I'm not a photographer, so I don't know what the old style photo, the disposable camera,
Oh, yeah.
so many different forms of content. My goal, or like, I guess the approach to filmmaking that I take is also, I don't stress myself out about getting every specific thing that's happening or every detail that was put at the wedding like a catalog. It's more, I want couples to be able to look back at their film and remember the feeling they had on their wedding day. Mm-hmm. And so, because of that, I have to know how they felt on their wedding. Like, I have to be close to their family. I have to know who they're close to. I have to know their friends. And if you're stressing the couple out, trying to get all of these other little details, it's just, I guess, going back to respecting the day. But rule number one is don't stress the couple over this situation. But yeah, babbling.
For sure. Oh, well said. I love that. Okay. So I'm picturing you interacting with the couple and their family and their loved ones and all of that. How do you interact with vendors? Like in the same way, like obviously you're being respectful, but like, do you have any other kind of, like what would you add just in how you are interacting with the photographer? Because obviously you guys can be kind of like overlapping a lot and maybe you get in each other's way sometimes. Like how do you deal with all of that?
Yeah, I think that I love working with photographers. I love collaborating with them on a wedding day. I feel like they have a different perspective. They're like borderline witchcraft with lighting. I respect them so much. Like they really are so talented at what they do. And they really do carry along a larger burden of stress because people are not looking to videographer to continue the timeline along in the same way that they're looking at photographer. So that being said, videography is a pretty new concept in comparison to photography. And so I try to just be as open as possible with them and communicate as clearly as I can. Like, hey, I'm going to have these angles set up during the ceremony, but like, please feel free to walk in front of them. That's why I have multiple ones. You take the couple and get what you need. I'm going to hang back for a second. And then whenever you're done, let me know. I just try to be as flexible as possible because photographers really, they try so hard to like accommodate me and it's so nice. And it feels so good. And, I want to make sure that I'm communicating to them what I need so that they don't have to guess and stress about their timing too, because they have to get a lot more like family formals and, they have to hit on these notes that I'm not having to necessarily hit on in the same way. So, I just try to be a team player and let them know I'm there to work with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. Team player. That's a huge one. Like, obviously we all have the same goal on a wedding day. Like we all want the wedding to be, we want our couple to be happy and to get married and to celebrate with their loved ones. And yes, we all have that shared goal. And so that should, in theory, like make it really easy for all of us to just work together and to collaborate and to have a great time doing it. And then I loved what you said about flexibility. I think that's a huge one. Like we all have situations where things come up that we weren't expecting, or the lighting is different than we were hoping, and any number of things, and just being able to be flexible and work with each other. And then you kind of mentioned like how the photographers, are really like accommodating and like working with you. And just, I think that just ties into like communication and just how important it is to be communicating with our vendors because, if I can't think of like a specific situation with like a photographer and videographer, but I'm sure there's been something where somebody was like in the way or something, and just like being able to communicate with them and not feeling like, oh, I don't want to step on their toes. But like at the end of the day, you know, it's about the couple. And so just, yeah, having clear communication throughout is always going to be a winner.
And it's like meeting them where they're at. You know, if a photographer is telling me, hey, I'm going to get these static poses, and then once I'm done, we're going to get them to do movement for you. But sometimes the day isn't really lending itself for me to like, I'm not feeling movement with the couple because of the dress or because of the venue or whatever. But like, I'm recognizing that they're telling me that because they want me to feel accommodated, and they want me to feel like a part of the team. And so like, I super appreciate that. And so in those instances, I'll just be like, thank you so much. Actually, if you don't mind, like whenever you get to a stopping point, I'll take them for like 2 poses, and then maybe you could change a battery and we'll flip flop so we can both get what we want. You know, it's just like, understand they're trying to give you what you want. They just don't know.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, on wedding days, things come up and things don't always go 100% perfectly to plan, even though we all wish that they would. So do you have anything you can share with us of like, if we're in a situation on a wedding day when something comes up and we're like feeling a little stressed inside, like how can we stay calm in that moment and like not let that pressure that we're under, you know, come bubbling out? Like, because obviously we don't want anyone to see us that way. Like I would hope that we wouldn't want the couple or another vendor to see us like freaking out. So how can we just stay calm and cool and collected?
Yeah, it's just wedding day culture. Something will inevitably go wrong. But I think remembering, I've had to tell myself several times, like, they're going to get married today, whether they get married at midnight and we drive them to the courthouse, justice of the peace, like whatever is going on is not bigger than the fact that a marriage is happening today. And you stressing out, the couple's very perceptive. So even if the vendor team isn't talking about it, you know, planning, they can sense when something's wrong. They make the eyes like, what is it? What are you not telling? Because they hear stories from their friends like, oh, this all went wrong. So they're anticipating something going wrong. For me, if there's a moment, I feel like there's 2 situations. There's a moment where the timeline is running really late and you're in a time crunch to get what you need. In those instances, I say be kind to the other vendors, work quickly to get what you need without letting the couple know that you're stressing out. And then if the timeline's late and you're waiting on something that's out of your control, the couple's not available to take portraits, or, you know, you have a moment where you're lulling, don't like just stand around looking stressed in front of their family and friends. Find something, hustle while you wait, you know, go get a liquid IV, go have a snack, change a battery for the next part of the day, do anything but stand around looking terrified, because that's not productive for you either. So.
No, those are great. Yeah, I love that. Hustle while you wait. Yeah, because I mean, we've all seen that person who's like pacing back and forth. Like you can see it all over their face. Like maybe they don't realize that they're wearing it on their face, but it's like you just see them pacing and you're like, oh gosh, like I feel stressed out just being in your presence, like, you know, and I feel like people don't realize, I think sometimes we don't realize like the energy that we're putting off. So it's really important to be aware of that. And like you said, the couple is perceptive, like their family and friends are perceptive, like they're going to notice if something is off. And so we need to be really mindful of, yeah, like what kind of energy we're putting out there and what look we have on our faces.
Absolutely. I remember not that long ago, Liz came to a wedding. We don't get to work weddings together often, but I called her for something and I could hear jostling in the background. And I've been picking on her about this ever since. And I'm like, what are you doing? Because I know you're not filming. She's like, don't say anything, but the arbor fell and I'm helping the florist. Like I'm on a ladder right now. And I like, we can't get it to stay in the ground and it's like falling over. And the girl is, you know, on the other side of the venue taking pictures, having the time of her life. She has absolutely no idea. We purposely didn't tell the other vendors so that they wouldn't know and like add to the weird energy that couples can pick up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what a great day that it ended up being for her without anybody making drama or just like, what happened over there with, like the eyes. It's like that also adds weird energy. It's like just support each
Mm-hmm.
other. Climb on a ladder, be a Liz, just grab the flowers,
Mm-hmm.
do the job.
Oh, I love that. That's such a good example of just, yeah, jumping in there and helping out. Like, she's not a florist, but she's doing what she can. Like, we all have to have each other's backs because those things happen. I had a wedding where their arbor, like a gust of wind came by and just like knocked the whole thing down. It was like the same thing, like, except it broke the arbor. So we had like groomsmen because this was honestly like right before the ceremony started. And so the groomsmen like we were grabbing like rocks and like just putting them around the arbor because like the leg had like broken and like we are just it was like totally jimmy rigged. It was quite ghetto, but I mean you couldn't really tell in the photos because the wedding party was all there. Like it was totally fine. Everyone was a great sport, but like we all had smiles on our faces. We're like, this is no big deal. This happens all the time.
Like, be thankful this is what went wrong and not something else. Like, it could
Right.
have been way worse,
Uh-huh.
That's awesome. I love that. I love
Exactly.
people that are good sports too.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Oh, very cool. Well, okay. So do you have any other like strategies or things that we could do to ensure that our couples feel supported and stress-free on their wedding day? Because it's more than just not stressing them out. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like obviously we don't want to do that,
Yeah.
but like, can we do anything to like be preventative? What else can we be doing?
I think reading the room, people, they can plan their wedding for months, but whenever they're on their wedding day, you probably experience this all the time. They're feeling different. So the couples that are like, we're going to take 6 hours of portraits. Those are the main ones that are like, actually, we didn't do a first look and I need a snack and I'm watching everyone drink and have fun and I'm quite sleepy. In those moments, I never want the couple to feel like, well, you're depriving me of portrait time because you're tired, even though I told you to do a first look, like something like that. I would at that point just be like, hey, let's do 5 minutes and then we're going to get you out of here. You don't have to take port. Like, I know you're tired. I know that you would rather at this point be with your family and be with your friends. And you're not going to remember these portraits. You're going to remember watching your friends and family drink and eat little cocktail weenies in front of you. And so I think just reading the room, if they need a break or if they're looking dejected or they're stressed, get back to fun, get back to a place where they feel comfortable and remember that they did the hard part. They got married and this is the best day of their life. Don't put pressure on them from, I guess, going back to the respect of the day. Don't make them feel like they're depriving you of something if they're tired. Let them enjoy their day the way that they want to in that moment in an authentic way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I know. And it goes back to like just being flexible too, because obviously we have a whole plan of how the day's going to go and how the timeline's going to be, but a million different things can happen to throw things off. And yeah, it's just like you said, reading the room. I think that's such great advice. I always like it's just so important to make sure that we're doing whatever our couples are wanting. Because maybe like I've had situations where, they were totally planning on golden hour photos and had been, looking forward to that. But then the time comes and they're just, yeah, like they're exhausted and they're like, I just want to be with my, loved ones. And it's like, I would hope that a photographer or videographer would just be respectful of that. And like, no, we're not going to be like, oh no, but I need to get these images. So let's go. Yeah.
Yes. I feel like after you've been doing it a while too, you can tell the couples that will regret cutting it short and you can kind of give them what they need to push through. Like, hey, I know you're going to want this later. I know you're tired. Can I get you something to drink? Can I get you something to make you more comfortable just for a second? Like, do you need to sit down for a while? If I feel like someone is really going to regret taking that time short later. But again,
Yeah.
you got to read the room,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like if they had been talking to you the whole time throughout the wedding planning process, like I can't wait for my golden hour photos, and you knew how important it was to them. And then the night comes and they're like, no, like like that's
the sun is going behind the mountain and they're eating and you're like, I don't want to take you from your meal, but this is like, by the time you get out there, we might have blue hour, like we're going to have to roll, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm sure like they appreciate that so much because
Yeah.
they have communicated how important that is to them.
Yes.
And so you're doing whatever you can to still make that happen. So yeah, that's great. Okay. Have you seen like any mistakes on wedding days that might, kind of throw things in the opposite direction of what we're talking about? Like, you know, just anything in broad terms that you could share of what not to do.
As a vendor?
Yes, as a vendor.
Yeah. I think like rule number one is don't talk negatively about vendors, even if they're having a bad day. It could just be that they could just be having a really bad day. Yeah. I think, for vendors working on a wedding day, remembering, you know, like we said, the couple can pick up on things. And so, the vendor team should do all that they can to work well together and show, that they're closing ranks on a wedding day, you know, that they're working it, like Miss America says, we're all on the same ship sailing home, you know. So regardless of how successful someone is or accomplished, just treating each other as human beings and, you know, with kindness and dignity and just looking for ways to help and take an interest in other people, even if you don't get anything back. That's like, it's investing in people is not a bad idea ever, because humanity is an investment that will always come back to you, even if, you know, it's, you always get more back if you care about people, like truly care about people. So that doesn't make any sense, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I totally get what you're saying. Yeah.
Like on a wedding day, like, even if I have a low period, I'm looking for vendors I can video or, you know, like give them some content or try to find out more about them and how they got started. And it's like, is this what you want to do more of? Or are you trying to scale back because you have a family? Or, you know, I just think taking an interest in the vendor team will also give the couple a good experience, because it's a win for me whenever I work with a team that maybe I didn't connect with in the way that I hoped for. And then the couple at the end of the day is like, this is the first time you guys work together. You seem like best friends. Like we thought you guys worked together all the time. You know, like, are you on there's vendor lists? Or, you know, that's a big win for me, because I'm like, I'm doing my job as a professional if they think, you know, we're working well together. So, and we made them comfortable.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I think it's so great for our couples to see the collaboration that happens, like seeing a photo of like the vendors tagged all together on their wedding day. Like, wouldn't I think that would make the couple super happy to be like, oh, look at my vendors. Like, they're all crushing it. Like, I don't know.
Dream team.
There's definitely something to be said for that. And then something else I wanted to mention too, kind of going back to what you had mentioned about Liz, like being up on the ladder, helping with the arbor, just like having a level of humility, being willing to jump in and help wherever is needed.
I think at the end of the day, this applies to my work too, but there's 100 people behind you that do what you do for half the price. And that's like just the reality of the market that we're living in. But people will remember how you made them feel. And your clients, you know, the people that are getting married, you're going to spend this day with them. You're going to deliver to them within a few months, and you're going to stay in touch. But your repeat clients are vendors. So it's your job to make them feel dignified and happy and give them a good day, because you're going to work with them again, hopefully.
Yep. Yeah, that's such a good reminder. And I think people honestly forget that, because they, you know, obviously we're working for the couple and we want them to have the best experience. But it's also really important that we're giving the vendors that we're working with a great experience, because otherwise they're not going to refer us. They're not going to want to work with us again. And that's really sad. And that's not what we want. So how can we, you know, be creating a great experience, not just for the client, the couple, but for all the vendors who are a part of that day as well? That should be a huge priority for us.
Absolutely. I don't know if I'm afraid to admit that I watched The Bachelor. in the
I
past,
do too.
long time ago. Don't even remember. But the girls are like, they're like fighting like cats and dogs. And then in all of their little interviews, they're like, I'm just here for Jason. Like, I'm not here for any of these women. Like, I'm here for Jason. And sometimes like vendors can be that way. It's like, I'm just here for the couple. I'm the couple's best friend. I don't need to get along with these vendors. And it's like, but what do you think it's making Jason think of you whenever you can't get along with your vendors? You're not gonna see Jason again. It's a stretch, but
The best analogy I've ever heard. I love it.
Is it land like it's like don't kid yourself into thinking that the way you treat people, even if you don't think you're gonna encounter them again, like it doesn't matter. I'm just here for Jason.
That was perfect. I love it.
I don't know where that came from, but I was like, this is it.
It just came to you.
It's the hair.
Love it.
It's full of secrets.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is fantastic. All right. I have like one or two more questions. Let's see what we can get through. Okay. So you've already given like so much great advice. Is there anything else you would say that us as vendors could be doing to create a culture? Because like a lot of what you're talking about is like this culture on a wedding day of kindness and collaboration and respect, which is so important. Is there anything else we can be doing to just help like foster that type of culture on a wedding day?
Yeah, I think my main thing is communication and kindness. So people in psychiatry talk about like scripting each other. You kind of assume people feel a certain way. And I think as vendors, because the wedding industry has been around forever, we kind of assume like, okay, so photographers need this, and wedding planners, they're going to want this, and videographers are going to want these kind of shots. And I think that if we just took like maybe 5 minutes before a wedding day and just be like, hey, what's your strategy today? Like, what can I do to give you a good day? These are the things that I'm going to do. But I'll even tell photographers like, hey, if you need to flash during the reception, if it's dark, please feel free. Don't worry about me. I have a light if you want to look at it ahead of time, if you think that would be helpful for you. If you think it's hideous, we can put it in my trunk and we can pretend like I never offered. I just think not assuming. I've fallen into the trap of it, just like assuming what photographers need. I'm using photographers as an example because I work closest with them on a wedding day besides a planner, but just making sure that I'm actually asking and not projecting what they need, not assuming that I'm giving them what they want just because I've worked with 1,000 photographers before, because everybody's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I loved what you were saying about like asking them, what can I do to give you a good day? It's such a simple question that we can ask, but I think it would make a really big impact on somebody. And so I think anytime that we can just be looking out for others and looking out for our vendor team and just doing what we can to make it a great day for everybody involved, like that is the way to go.
Absolutely. Liz, just bringing Liz into this, but she will even ask vendors, specifically the photographer and the wedding planner, like, hey, what do videographers do that irritates you? And I'm like, you are so brave, because I don't want to know. Like, I'm afraid that is something I've been doing all day. And she's gotten some really interesting feedback from that. And it's really made her, I mean, she's a dream to work with already, everybody. She's like everybody's instant best friend. But I thought that was nice too. Like, let us know how to be less annoying. We'll try to meet you halfway.
Yes. No, that's amazing. That's such a great idea. I think, yeah, we can get a little bit scared or intimidated to ask that, because it's like, oh, yeah, like what if it's something that I am doing, or what if I get called out? But like, if we don't ask, then we won't know, and we always, I think we should always be wanting to improve and wanting to do better in our businesses. So that's a really fantastic way for just, to ask for feedback in like a not, because you're not necessarily saying, what can I do better? You're just saying like, what do other videographers do that drives you crazy? What do other planners do that drives you crazy? Like that's great.
Yeah. They're like, well, whenever you paracord from the ceiling of the church during mass, with all of your lights. It really irritates us. Like you get in all of the shots. Anyways.
Oh my gosh. This has been so good. So, can you just leave us, maybe, possibly, with one final piece of advice that you would like to share with wedding professionals about how we can just respect the wedding day?
Yeah, I think I just go back to care about people from the heart without expecting to receive anything in return. Tangible, don't expect to receive even respect back, but care about everyone genuinely, and you will have a good day. You are guaranteed a good day because you'll know that you've gone above and beyond. I think that your couple will be able to feel it too, and they'll be able to look back on the day as something that was personal and not just another check off of a career list, but something that is authentic and, like you said, sacred. I like that word. Yeah, just remember, there's a wedding. There's a wedding happening, and it's a privilege. Like it really is a privilege to tell the story. And yeah, when you do it a lot, whenever you do it every weekend, it can be difficult to remember that. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, these are just the reminders that we really need. You know, it's like basic stuff that I'm sure we all knew at one point in our businesses. Like maybe when we get started, we're so like, you're so passionate and it's new and exciting. But then I feel like after years of being in the business, maybe like people can get jaded. Like you're doing, like you said, if you're working a wedding every weekend, it doesn't it might not feel as special anymore. And so it's just good to remind ourselves of this. Maybe it's the 20th wedding that we've done that year, but it's this couple's first wedding and only wedding, hopefully, of their entire lives, you know? Like, yeah, it is so important to remember that.
And that's why we cap our weddings, because we know after a certain amount we're like, we're not going to give our best emotionally. We're not going to give our best quality wise, you know, like we want to make sure that we're walking in with that respect. No matter.
Yes.
Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's really smart. And we do the same thing. I think it's a great practice. And I don't know, I hear about the people doing like 50, 75 weddings. And I'm like, I would literally die for one, but also like I couldn't give my couples the kind of attention and care or the vendor teams, the attention that they deserve. And I don't want that. I want to be able to give 100% to the handful of couples that we're working with. So
it's evident. I mean, and I admire that too, because I know that's a leap of faith to take. It's hard whenever people are knocking and you're like, I want to, and I love you and I want to work with you. But you're like, I'm going to have crow's feet and fall asleep at the wheel for your wedding, and you're not going to have a good day. You're not going to have a good day.
Right.
I think at that point, it's like the tree that grows on top of the soil. You can see how big it is, but whenever you're capping off, it's like you're focusing on growing down in your roots and you're tightening up all of those other processes and how you work with people. And it's like, okay, you think you're doing this well? Well, then why don't you ask a vendor if videographers are annoying and then see what you can work on? I'm not brave enough. I'll let Liz ask. She just tells me.
Well, good on Liz. I'm sure she reports back with lots of useful information.
We've heard a lot. We have heard a lot of stories. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, this has been so great. Thank you for taking the time. I always love chatting with you. And this time I got to do it with a microphone. So this is fantastic.
Yeah. Just delete the first half. Just delete the entire first half. I'm like,
no. Okay, but before we go, I need you to share with all of our lovely listeners where they can find you online so they can go follow you and just enjoy the presence of Olivia and Liz.
Yeah, Liz is great. Don't worry about me. So we are on the Instagram, and it's numa.films. And then we also have numafilms.com, and Facebook is kind of in no man's land, so don't worry about Facebook right now. We're getting there. We're growing down, we're growing down in those roots still.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will put all of that in the show notes. And yeah, everybody go check them out. They are extremely talented videographers and also just really awesome people.
Yay. We're trying so hard.
Well, thanks, Olivia.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Event Crushed podcast. I hope you found value in this episode, and if you did, please consider sharing it with a wedding industry friend. We also hope you'll consider leaving a rating or review for the show to help other listeners find it. This podcast is edited and produced by Ace Sound Design. If you're looking to elevate your audio experience, their info can be found in the show description. As always, thank you for listening, and please connect with us on Instagram if you haven't already. Now, get out there and crush it.